you know that every word you speak matters? Are your conversations making a difference? With a passion for words and a heart for conversation, Teresa Velarde is a self-professed word nerd, best-selling author, BizCat 360 columnist, and publisher. Children's books as well as fiction and nonfiction books are welcomed at Weeby Books Publishing and Book Endeavors, the imprints of her company, Authentic Endeavors Publishing. Whether written or spoken, Teresa strives to encourage and inspire meaningful conversations that make a difference. Here's the host of Conversations That Make a Difference, Teresa Velarde.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Conversations That Make a Difference. I am Teresa Velarde, and I'm so excited to have two of my favorite people in our conversation today. We're going to talk about reading, summer reading for kids, and I want to let you know that you can listen to our show live every first and third Tuesday of the month. I know this is the fourth. Don't tell anybody we're off schedule, but I'm here. And you can listen to the replays on Tuesdays at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern time. So I won't be here live at 5 in the morning, but you can catch me on the first and third live at 5 p.m. So you can also get Dream Vision 7 radio network in your car, on your computer, and lots of different ways. On your phone, just go to Dream Vision 7 radio network.com and you'll find out all the places, including Alexa, but don't say it too loud because she'll start playing. Okay. So let me just tell you a little bit about these ladies. I'm actually going to let them tell you a little bit about themselves. And first I'm going to go to Dr. Ann Worth, who is the author of the Tessie's Tears series. And this is the third book in the series. This is Corky, the rescue puppy. And Anne, tell us a little bit about yourself and let us know a little bit about how Tessie got started.
Well, thank you, Teresa, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
Well, I've kind of reinvented myself during COVID. I've been a Christian counselor for many, many years. And like everyone else, I was sitting in my apartment for a long time. And I really started thinking about the children who were also sitting in their homes. And they were seeing death in a way they had never seen it before. They couldn't help but hear it. Families lost family members, neighbors lost friends. So I just had on my heart, how are these children dealing with it? Well, how are any of us dealing with all this death? So I got the idea I heard about a grandfather that died, and I got the idea that children needed to know about heaven. Mm-hmm. And the reason her name is Tessie is because of you, Teresa, because I was thinking about you one day and just that name Tessie came to my mind. Mm-hmm. So this is the first book about Tessie, and they're called Tessie's Tears because every book deals with loss.
Yes.
So I think I'm getting ahead of myself. You wanted to know more about me. I'm 80 years young, and
you would never know it to look at you, right, Donna? No, never.
Well, I can't take any credits, just good genes. And clean living. That's a whole nother story about another book. Yeah. But I really see myself as an author these days. So I have 2 more books in mind, and so more will be revealed.
More will be revealed.
I want to know about Donna.
Donna Guary is the author of broccoli. It's my favorite vegetable. And Donna, tell us a little bit about yourself and how this book came to be.
Oh my goodness. Well, again, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And to this beautiful, what did you say, 80-year-old that doesn't look it? Oh my goodness.
She's not 80.
No, she's not. You're right. No, I'm saying you. So I'm
We
saying
don't have
hello
to,
to both
by
of
the
you.
way, we don't have to reveal our ages if you don't want to. I don't want to, but God bless you, Ann. You look great for your age. Okay.
She does. She does. Well, I am Donna Guary, and I'm here in Oklahoma. I'm originally from California. Um, the oldest of 6 children, and spent 20 years in the United States Air Force, and after high school, and been all over the world. And so now I'm here in Oklahoma, getting the opportunity to help raise my grandchildren, and which Henley, the one that the book is about, I get to live with her every day, and her love for broccoli. And so one day after school, after I had graduated from school last year, I don't know, it just kind of came about, and her and I were talking, and I think it was really a God thing. I woke up one day after spending 2 years of crying every week because there was a paper I needed to write for my school. But I woke up during this break between school and commencement, and the words wouldn't stop. They were just flooding my mind. And so I sat there for about a week and a half and wrote 6 children's books.
Oh,
And
my word.
I count it all to God for sure. A lot of them were based on Henley and just my relationship with her. The broccoli book came about because she can eat broccoli every single day.
Yes.
Now, you talk to her brother, Kyler, that's a different story. He doesn't want to have anything to do with that. But broccoli is Henley's favorite vegetable. And so we just kind of ventured out on writing about that. And then since then, I've gotten really involved with women and veteran women in agriculture. And so we've been doing a lot of talking about fruits and vegetables and farming, and how the USDA wants to help all those who are interested in farming. So it's kind of opened up some doors that I didn't realize were going to open. Quite a surprise, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
So, and thank you for your service, Donna. 20 years is a long time to spend in service to our country. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I want to say that Henley is going to be the subject of this book that's coming, that we're working on right now.
Yes.
And it's Where in the World Does Broccoli Come From? And as you can see, Gaga, who is Donna, and Henley, they go on a little adventure, and I'm not going to reveal any of the story. You just have to get the book when it comes out.
Yes.
But yeah, and this is the second of a few books that you have. You said you have 6 children's books that you wrote.
Well, I wrote 6 during that week and a half while out of school, but since then I've written 3 more.
Nice.
So they just keep coming, and I'm just trying to be obedient to sit down and write what comes to my heart. And and they're not all about broccoli, but or vegetables, but yeah. So excited to see those someday in print.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be awesome. And I'm just so grateful that I get a chance to work with authors like you, who have a heart for children, who have a heart for God, and who bring the message across to those who may never see, I may never have a conversation about broccoli, or may never have a conversation about the loss of a grandparent, the moving away of a friend, or the rescue puppy like Corky. So, Anne, let's talk about your series. I know you have 3 books, and I know that you're thinking of a couple of others that are coming down the line here. So, and your stories deal with loss, and you started to allude to the reason why they deal with loss. But I love the fact that you put it in terms of things that children have a hard time dealing with. What happened to Grandpa? Why did my friend move away? And oh my goodness, what happened to my puppy? So let's talk about, I mean, you're a psychologist, so I know that you have a lot of experience and a lot of training in order to be able to bring these conversations forward. Let's talk about, number one, the impact that these make, not only in relationship to the loss factor, but the heaven factor that you brought into this, and God and Jesus. And I think it's just so wonderful that kids who may not have that conversation get an opportunity to have that conversation, if not with their parents, with the characters in the book. So let's talk about some of your stories.
Okay, and I want to say that the illustrator, and I think Donna, we must have used the same illustrator, because in my second book, there are two darling little girls called Missy and Chrissy, and they remind me of your little granddaughter.
Yes.
The first book, Grampy Goes to Heaven, is a book that talks about how God wants all his children to come home to him someday. And when Grammy explains to her that heaven is a beautiful place and that Grampy's not going to be sick anymore, he's going to have a new body, it dries up her tears, because Tessie always has one little tear that's ready to fall at almost any time. And in the second book, when her very best friend that lives next door to her has to move away because her father's in the service. And so the family moves to be with their grandparents. So when Molly moves away, she just thinks that she'll never have a best friend again. But eventually, in the same house where Molly lived, two little girls move in named Missy and Prissy. And they asked Tessie, "Why are you so sad?" And she said, "My very best friend moved away." And they said, "We have a friend who will never move away." And they love Jesus. And so it's not spelled out in the books, but Molly's parents do not talk to her about Jesus or heaven. And so it's very important that she learns about this from her little friends. So in that book, they meet Jesus, the friend who never, is she adorable? This is
Adorable.
I love her hair. I love her hair.
yes.
Yeah.
So the third book is about a real dog that I rescued. His name he's not with us anymore. He's waiting at the Rainbow Bridge, but he got lost. And so it was really terrible. And there's not a child alive who hasn't lost a pet and had to go through that grief. But Corky doesn't die. He's lost. And because Grammy, who is in every book, made a little tag for him with Tessie's phone number, somebody finds her puppy and returns it. And the happy ending to this story is something that I really hope to do before my life is over. I want to have a dog rescue. In the meantime, I foster for a couple of rescues. But Grammy and Grampy have a farm. And so they see how Tessie was so heartbroken, and they think about all the dogs that are in the shelters, and they start a rescue.
Yeah.
And they name it for Tessie.
Yeah. That's awesome. Everyone. So what I like about what you did just there is, yes, you told a bit about the story and a bit about each one of them having a loss, but you also left room for the reader to go and read the entire story, because each one of them is really fun and is really powerful. I love the characters. I love the illustrations. Our illustration, Aljon and Ursha, and the issue's been fixed. Thank you. And he and Nova, they are the ones that create these beautiful illustrations in these books. And I'm so blessed to have him as part of the team, because what he brings through the emotions of the children's faces is just crazy. And I mean, that's beautifully evident on the front of this broccoli book. Look at that face. Like there is nothing like broccoli to this young girl, right, Donna?
That's right.
Henley is a joy, by the way.
Yes. Yes. There, I tell you what, he captured her tremendously. And
Mhm.
so many who have read it that know her have looked at the pages and they have just said, "Oh my goodness, that is Henley. That is her to the T." So yes, he does beautiful work, and just really praying that the Lord would just increase that gift in him,
Yes.
the glory of God. Yes.
Yeah, so just the same way that Anne's books have a lesson in them, so do yours. And yours is a lesson about vegetables and I mean, I love when Henley introduces the cruciferous family.
Yes.
Right? So there's purpose with each of these books as well. So one of the things that I love about the authors that I am blessed to work with is that every single one of the books has a message. Let's talk about your book, Donna. Bring forth some about Henley that not only is happening in this book, but is getting carried through into the next one, which is so much fun, by the way.
Yes, yes. Well, it starts, yes, with her love for broccoli. But as we've been talking to other children and we're talking about vegetables, a lot of them tell me they don't like broccoli. And so one of the lessons that we've been able to talk to children about is you can't say that you don't love something or don't like something unless you've tried it.
Mhm.
So, as we're talking to parents and we're talking to children about how the foods, the different types of foods that they like, one of the things is that no, don't say that you don't like it unless you've tried it. Now, once you've tried it, if you don't like it, then that would be a truthful statement.
Mhm.
But one of the other beautiful things that's happening is that we're getting parents who are saying that their children would have never gone into the produce department of a grocery store, definitely not on their own. And yet now they're wanting to talk about the cruciferous family, and they're naming broccoli and Brussels sprouts and kale. And so yes, so the educational component to that is that even in science and in their classrooms, they can talk about the different things, how things grow. It started actually with Henley bringing home just a little cup where they were going to learn about how flowers grow. So they all got a chance to plant a little seed, and they were tasked to come home and water it and give it sunlight and watch how it grows. And so we kind of touch on that in the second book when we're discovering how it originates. I'm kind of one of those people who love not just the thing, but also how that thing arrived, the origin of it, the history of it. So we bring in that component of just also figuring out, well, it's here, but how did it get here? Where did it start, and all the different forms that it's taken. So it really is something that the teachers are going to be using in their class. I had a first grade teacher spoke to me about her class. She was in an area of a lot of low income families, but the beautiful thing about her reading the book to her class is that it started a conversation with all of the children. They were able to talk about their grandmother, and they were able to talk about their siblings, and so it started a conversation that really kind of caught her off guard. But boy, it was a beautiful moment for her. And then the funny thing was when she was done, Henley's got that line at the end. I wonder where does broccoli come from? And so she says that when they got to the end of the book, they were all just saying, "Where does broccoli come from?"
You have to write the next book.
It's written, it's being done right now. It's being done right now.
Yes, so they were excited to know that there was a second book coming, and they were going to get a chance to learn, where does broccoli come from. So it's really been nice, and I love the educational component. And of course, Genesis talks about the seed that God had provided, that we would grow food. So that we know that it all begins with Him at the very core of it all. Yes.
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
I wanted to share something with you. I had a guest for dinner recently, and I always, when I pray before the meal, I say, bless the hands that prepared the meal. But she said, bless the hands that got this meal to the table. And it made me think about, oh my goodness, the farmers, the distributors, the people who sort it all out. I mean,
Yes.
it's amazing. It's amazing that broccoli ends up on our plate.
Yes, indeed, it is.
That's right. That's right. From the time that farmer puts the seed in the ground, all the stages that it takes on. It's an interesting story for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we had to go to our first break. We'll be back to have more conversation with Dr. Ann Worth and Donna Guary about their children's books that they are putting out into the world and celebrating not only children, but the lessons that children learn through the books that they have written. So we'll be back in just a minute.
With the hustle and bustle of today's world, how often do you take time to practice gratitude? More importantly, how can you make it a habit? The Grateful Hearts community is a group of like-minded people focusing on what's going right and being grateful. Gratitude is more than putting a smile on your face and being thankful for the roof over your head. It's about expanding your perception and finding ways to find gratitude for, in, and through the challenges we face every day. Gratitude is a feeling of connection to things higher than yourself, to God, and to others. We focus on light, positivity, and connections. You make a difference. When we join our grateful hearts together, the power of community attracts more people and even more to be grateful for. Expressing gratitude and feeling grateful is infectious, so let's share it. Join our Grateful Hearts community and watch your blessings blossom. Learn more at gratefulheartscommunity.com and join the community at facebook.com/The Grateful Hearts Community.
Are miracles real? Can you move from mayhem to miracles? 30 prominent authors say yes as they share their high fives and down lows of challenges, abuse, addiction, and love. Experience hope, the magic elixir of miracles, through the personal stories of New York Times bestselling authors James Redfield, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Sister Jenna, Reverend Temple Hayes, and many more. If you like bestsellers, chaos to clarity, and crappy to happy, you'll love crying and laughing through mayhem to miracles. Sacred stories of transformational hope. Available now on Amazon and in bookstores worldwide.
Did you know that every word you speak matters? What you say and how you say it can make or break a relationship or shift the outcome of any situation. Are your conversations making a difference? Faith in God, gratitude, authenticity, and giving are Teresa Velarde's heart. It's in this spirit that she's focused on making a difference in the lives she's blessed to touch. Conversations That Make a Difference is now on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Hey, welcome back. I wanted to share something, a daily gift of gratitude. Each of these ladies has actually contributed something to this book. This is the first in a series called the Daily Gift Book Series. If you go to dailygiftbookseries.com, you can learn more about it. The next one coming is a Daily Gift of Hope, and they will be submitting stories for this as well. And if you'd like to be part of the next book in this book series, just go, as I said, to dailygiftbookseries.com to learn more about that. And I also want to give a shout out to my one of my authors, Mark O'Brien, who wrote a great little book called Random Thoughts, a writer's notebook. He starts his Dream Vision 7 Radio Network podcast / show on August the 7th. Mark O'Brien will be live on August the 7th. Well, go to the website for details on when his day and time, and I'll be listening to the first show. He's an awesome guy. So, ladies, back to our conversation. Broccoli and little girls who love Jesus, right? Yeah. So, yes, indeed, right? So, Anne, you said that Corky, the rescue puppy, and I know this for sure because I know the story. You said Corky, the rescue puppy, was a real life dog in your life. Do you want to talk about Corky and your experience? Oh my goodness, there he is, Corky.
There he is, yes. And I wanted to say that Aljon and Nova really captured him. Here's another picture of the real dog, all 3.5 pounds of him. But the other thing I wanted to say about the books that we didn't mention, their activities in the back, their coloring pages. And in this particular one, we gave children an opportunity to name the animals, all the different animals. We added a few that might not have been in the original nativity scene, ducks and a few other things, but also word search. And the other thing we did in the Corky book is, you know, children are going to read this book and they're going to say, Mommy, we want to go to the shelter like Tessie did. Well, if they're not ready to adopt, we've put some references in to places where they can foster, where they can donate, and if they're not ready at all, did you know you can adopt a whale or an elephant or a kangaroo? There you can adopt, and you make a donation and then they assign you an animal and you have a picture of it. So we've given parents an out if they're not quite ready to adopt a shelter.
So that's good. That's good. So you said yourself, and I know this because when I speak to you every once in a while, you have a little pet with you, little doggy. And you have done your share of rescuing puppies along the way here. So tell us a little bit about why you do that, and a little bit about Corky when he was still here.
Well, he was a snuggle bug. I mean, I may have a tear myself when I talk about him. And I've had a series of little Yorkies because of him. They're just such wonderful dogs. But when I was in the 4th grade, I read the story of Black Beauty. And it broke my heart because I really may cry. There are animals who are mistreated and abandoned. And I think when I was 10 years old, I decided if I could do anything at all, of course, I've rescued a few people too, but if I could do anything at all, I would just stand by and do nothing. So you're right, Teresa. I've had a whole series. After I lost my last Yorkie, I just thought I can't do this for a while. I can't have my own dog, but I could take care of a dog, help rehab a dog. The ones that come to me are usually toothless and old, and you think nobody's ever going to want them. But when they stay with me for a little while, love love can create a miracle.
A
I wish
miracle.
you could see the last little dog I had. He was pitiful looking, and he just was a little fluff ball when he got adopted. So it's very gratifying to me to see these little dogs just blossom when you love them, just like people do.
Yeah. And love is just the bottom line. That's where we need to stay, in a place of love, not only for each other, for our animals, for our work, for our, just for, of course, for God and Jesus. And if you stay in that place, you'd be shocked at how much different your life will go. And in a place of gratitude also, because, the more gratitude we have, the more we get to be grateful for. So, right. Let's talk about Miss Henley. I love Miss Henley. When I'm in conference with Donna, it is ultimately that call is not complete unless that little girl shows her face and has something to say about the books that are going on. And the best part is when she calls my phone number using your phone. Hello, Miss Teresa, this is Henley. I'm just wondering, how's the book coming along?
Yes, she is quite the character.
She is.
She is quite the character. Yeah.
And you also have coloring pages and activity pages in here. And one of the things you have in here is here. This is we've got a word search as well. And then you have the cruciferous vegetables here. And the children have to match the name to the actual vegetable itself.
Yes.
Yeah. So, there's always a learning factor. There's always a learning factor here. So let's talk a little bit more about, I want to talk about Kyler and his situation with his sister Henley. And it rolls over into the next book. As you said earlier, broccoli is not Kyler's favorite vegetable.
No, he has had it one too many evenings, and he cares not to partake. So we're trying to make sure that we, do the mixed vegetables or something else. But no, he would much rather not eat broccoli every day. So he's getting quite vocal about it, as well. As he gets older, he's getting quite vocal. And so, but he's a little character. His little personality is coming out. He gets to start school this year. He'll be in preschool. And so we've talked about, what did he tell me? He wanted me to write. He says, do you think we can write a book about, and then he kind of pauses. And I said, well, what book? What would you like to write about? Let me think about it. Yes, so he's got his little thoughts going there about what book he thinks we should write about next. But
the wheels are turning.
The wheels are turning. I will, before they start school, we're planning on going to some community gardens. I'm so sorry. I have a little one at my door. Henley, you need to go away for a bit. So we're planning on going to some community gardens. So I want to get them involved looking at the farms and seeing how things are growing and stuff. And so I know that that's something that Kyler's interested in. We'll see what comes out of that. Yeah. The gardens.
Just for curiosity, does he have a favorite vegetable?
He likes carrots and he likes cauliflower. So yeah, and probably carrots more than cauliflower. He always says, I like cauliflower, but we'll see. I think it really is carrots. like his father, when they were growing up, I'd make a pot of like sweet carrots, with butter and a little sweetness to it. And so they would literally have a kind of tussle about who was going to get the last part of the carrots in the pot. So
Yeah.
we grew up, and another interesting thing is that when we were kind of exploring broccoli and Henley's love for it, and of course talking to Kyler about his, I started seeing a little pattern about how each one of us had such a love for something specific, a specific vegetable. So one day it kind of occurred to me that when I was growing up, my snack when I came from home, others may get cheese or crackers or whatever, a cookie. My snack coming home every day was a can of spinach.
Wow.
And I started thinking about that. I said, oh my goodness. So I actually probably just like Henley, where every day that's what I wanted after school, was spinach with just a little butter and some salt and pepper. And I was in seventh heaven. Yeah.
You're
So-
making me think about vegetables.
Yes.
See?
So it starts this conversation. And then, and of course, like I said, we realized that we each had this favorite vegetable that we really love, not just, what something that we like, but one that we didn't mind eating every day, So, but it's been quite a journey. In this last week, I started really even thinking about when we're talking about farming and we're talking about vegetables. It just occurred to me, wait a minute. In my genealogy research, I've got great-grandfathers, great-great-grandfathers who were farmers that I hadn't even considered when we were writing the books.
Right.
So I'd love to maybe at some point kind of bring that historical fact, maybe something about a grandfather's farm or something, and the things that they grew. And we're talking about the 17 and the 1800s. And that's just,
Wow.
when you think about vegetables, I mean, I know it's a funny topic, but when you think about it, it's a part of our lives. I mean, we've got farms that I didn't even consider in my family, and now I can reach back and bring those stories forward. That'll be interesting. Yeah.
Generational, a legacy of vegetables.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm curious, to hear a little bit about, when you read these books to the children in school, do you ask them what their afternoon snack is? You have the spinach in your history, and I'm sure Henley asks for broccoli when she comes home from school. What do the kids say they like besides Oreos to have for that?
So far, the track record isn't all that great because it is definitely not a vegetable. None of them. Although, like I said, there are some that say that they like vegetables, but none of them as a snack for sure. Yeah. Now,
have you had any of them come back to you and say, like you said earlier, you can't say you don't like it unless you've tried it, right? So have you had any of them come back to you and say, I tried broccoli and this is my opinion of broccoli?
Well, the cutest little story that I have about that is a little, I think she may be 4. She might be 3. And big, beautiful eyes, long eyelashes, cute as a button. And one day after church, she says to me, Miss Donna, I like broccoli. I said, you do? And her mom looked down at her and said, you do? Since when? And so she says, and then she's looking big, wide-eyed, and she says, yes. So her mom says, okay, well, we will have broccoli for dinner tonight. But it was the cutest thing because she says, Miss Donna, I like broccoli. And her mom was totally surprised because she was not a broccoli eater for sure.
Oh my goodness.
So no one's come back yet. I'll see a lot of those students I'll see a lot of those students this year when school starts here in a couple of weeks. I know that when I do see them, when I've seen them over the summer, they all have said, when's the new book gonna come? So they've been really pushing to see this new book come to fruition. So I need to get off my duff.
Well, we're almost there, right? We've got a
there.
couple of little revisions to do, and we're almost there. So for those of you that are waiting for where in the world does broccoli come from, and the little adventure that Donna has with Henley, I'm not going to give it away, but
It's an adventure.
Yeah, it is an adventure. You can see the cover right in the back of my broccoli is my favorite vegetable. So that's coming soon. And yeah, and then I know that you have some other things planned from there. So we have to go to our second break right now. And I'm so excited with this conversation. So let's just take a few minutes to have our break, and we'll be back with Dr. Ann Worth and Donna Guary.
In order to be healthy and happy, there are 24 areas of your life to balance. With the All Things Wellness Wheel, you become self-empowered, allowing you to make healthier decisions about relationships, nutrition, sleep, exercise, stress, and even your value system. The All Things Wellness book series, written by Peggy Wilms and Dr. Marcus Wettstein, teaches you how to balance your wellness wheel in addition to sharing true stories from multiple contributing authors. Book 1, The Fourfold Formula, and Book 2, Win the Wellness War, We Are Responsible, are now available on Amazon. Reserve your spot now to become a published author in Book 3, Wellness GPS, Get Prepared for Success. Visit www.allthingswellness.com/authors for more information.
Why are we here? How can we be happy? Questions asked from millennials to boomers. Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy answers them using true stories of grit, grace, and love. James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy, wrote in the foreword, "This book is a seminar about emerging truths and offers grounded solutions through the art of the comeback." Dr. Bernie Siegel, a contributing author, wrote, "Bodies die, but spirits and consciousness survive and recycle." So, grab some tissues, open your book, and prepare to cry and laugh till it heals. Crappy to Happy by Reverend Ariel Patricia and Kathleen O'Keefe Cannabis. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and booksellers worldwide.
Do you have a personal story of hope or kindness to share? The Daily Gift book series, which began with a daily gift of gratitude, now available on Amazon, continues with a daily gift of hope and a daily gift of kindness. And we're looking for people just like you to share a story. Your daily gift of hope story might answer one of these questions. Is there a time when you felt hopeless and someone stepped in to change your view? Have you been an example of hope for someone else? Is hope something that you've always had? If so, how do you keep that hope alive? With hope, we have more energy and a purpose. It gets us out of bed in the morning. Daily Gift of Kindness might be your chance to talk about recognizing and spreading kindness to change the world. Practicing kindness lifts your spirit and your mood, warms your heart, and helps to navigate your way through today's challenges. Has an act of kindness from a stranger turned your day around? Have you ever paid it forward to someone or for someone? Your story matters, so visit dailygiftbookseries.com to find out more about how to submit your story for a daily gift of hope and a daily gift of kindness. Your stories make a difference.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we're back with Dr. Ann Worth and Donna Guary, authors of children's books. And their books are also available on Amazon.com. Tessie's Tears, there are 3 in the series thus far. Grampy Goes to Heaven, Molly Moves Away, and Corky the Rescue Puppy can all be found on Amazon. And Donna's book, Broccoli, It's My Favorite Vegetable, can also be found on Amazon. And you can also find them, you see them with a link directly to the books on the Book Endeavors website, bookendeavors.com. And the books are shown there. You can just click on the book cover and it will take you directly to Amazon to get your copy of each of these books. So let's talk about how this writing process, how you have a love for writing. And I'm going to start with you. I know that you've written a book before this. It's a little bit of a memoir kind of thing. But what inspires you to write?
You know, I have journaled for years and years and years. And there is something that connects us to a part of ourselves when we let it come out onto the paper. And you know that it can be a positive in so many ways. I know as a psychologist, as a counselor, I have worked with many people who are trapped in emotions that they don't seem to be able to let go of. And very often, if they will write a letter to the person that they miss or that they're angry with, or it really just opens up the channel to let go of those feelings or to send those feelings. And I actually have people take them to the post office and put them in the mail slot and let it go. And I sometimes think to myself, you know, they go to the dead letter department. I'm sure that somebody is sitting in the dead letter department reading some very heavy things or happy things. And so I think about those people sometimes. But I did want to mention that I think the Corky book where they adopt a puppy is a natural segue into writing a book about adoption.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be my next book. And I can see the little girl. She's Korean. You know, they have warming boxes there and her parents cannot take care of her. And they put her in the warming box and how she gets to America. And she's going to live in the same neighborhood and Tessie's going to babysit with her when she gets older.
Nice.
So it's a joy. But I wanted to say something else. Donna, you're so fortunate that you have been able to read in the schools and you have your granddaughter there, so you have a connection to the school. I've only read in one school and the children love the books. And when they saw the picture of Jesus, I mean, they just said, there's Jesus. You know, it was so neat. And one little boy said to me, well, why is she so sad in the book about Molly Moves Away? And this little girl said, well, her best friend moved away. Aren't you listening? So the children are delightful. But I live in Dallas, Texas. And so if there is anyone who works in a school or with children in a church, I would be so delighted to donate a book, to come and read to the children. It would be my joy. So I don't know.
How can people get in touch with you? And if there's anyone listening who can take you up on that offer, how can they get in touch with you?
They can go to my website, which is Dr. Anne, A-N-N-E, Worth, author.com.
Awesome.
And my contact information is there. And it's also in the book. So I guess if you go to Amazon, maybe there's a connection there.
I believe on the Book Endeavors website, I think there is a page about the author and a contact information. I believe it is there. So
yeah, I would just be delighted to do that.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Donna, how did you start with writing? What was your inspiration to begin this process of becoming an author?
I actually started writing poems when I was in about middle school. 7th and 8th grade, I think, was most of the time frame of when I was writing. Like I said, this time that we're in now with the books, it's watching the children, it's watching Henley and Kyler. I've always been interested in movies and writing. I actually, when I was a little kid, wanted to be a playwright. And so I've always had the interest of writing, but I think you kind of grow up and you start doing other things, and all those things that are buried in your life, at a beautiful time, God brings them back up. And you can look back over your life and see a weaving of things, of ministry, and of things that He's placed in your life that's going to come forth at a certain time when most needed, I believe. So I've always been interested in writing. I didn't really care too much for, as I said earlier, I didn't care too much for writing a paper every week, an academic paper, but to sit and to watch the birds in the backyard going through the trees, or walking, or life in general really inspires me. Yeah, I just feel like our lives are, it's just a tapestry of woven stories that we can, if we sat down, we they could just come out of us, with just spill, out of us. And so I'd love to just be able to, as things come to the forefront, that I could just sit down and write it. And so I think writing is beautiful. I think storytelling is beautiful. I always feel alive when I'm sitting listening to someone tell their story, tell about their life. I always have to apologize. I'm sorry I ask a lot of questions about their lives, because I'm so interested in just the journey of a person. And so so I've always loved that. I've always been a thinker. So I think a lot, and sometimes it's a burden, because I think a lot about a lot of things about the world and about people, and so forth. So I probably think too much, maybe at times, an overthinker.
Sometimes in this day and age, in the time that we're living in right now, it's difficult to not be an overthinker, because there's so much happening in the world, that there's so much for us to absorb, evaluate, and decide, what do we want to keep in our brains and what do we want to let go of, and how do we want to live, because we have the capability to make a decision on what we allow in and what we keep out, so I think it's important to ask questions and figure things out for ourselves, because it's part of who we are.
Right.
I started writing, journaling, the same thing like Anne said, and when I was, the other thing I want to say before kind of like that segues into this. You said something about the stories and how important the stories are, people's stories are. If there's one thing I can impress upon the listeners today, these women are living examples of how there are stories that come to us and there are stories that we live. I know that Dr. Ann has her book called Call Me Worthy out there, and it took a lot for her to do this, but it's a lot for us to take our truth, our life, our who we are, and put it onto paper in a way that is pleasing to us and readable to other people. So, but I think that, I believe that we're supposed to leave this world a better place than when we left it, when we got here, right? So if we leave a little bit of ourselves in the pages of a book, regardless of whether it's a children's book, whether it's a memoir. Speaking of memoirs, Tammy Hayter's Walking Old Roads is absolutely fabulous. I highly recommend it. She was on my show a couple of weeks ago. You can watch the replay. She and Mark O'Brien were on as well. So I think that the stories that we tell, allow us to not only show ourselves to the next generation and the people who were in, in our lives at that time, it brings us back to who we are at some point, at any given point in our lives. I have memories of my childhood that are so precious, and I'm sure you ladies do as well. So if you have, and some of them, I mean, right now, your book about broccoli, Donna, is happening now in your life with Henley and Kyler and Anne. Your stories are based on your life and your truth, and you're passing them along for children to be able to get through whatever situations and circumstances that may be the same as what you experienced, in a way that they can bring understanding to themselves about it. But I started by journaling, and I highly recommend journaling. And so one of the things that was put on my heart was to put something out there where people could actually do this, become who you were created to be. I'm a potter. God gifted me with this gift in my hands. And in these pages, there's scripture and there's stuff to color and plenty of places for you to write. One of the things I find very powerful is to get it out of your system. Like you were saying earlier, Anne, send it to the dead letter box in the post office, or something, flush it down the toilet, put it in a can of beer, just get it out of yourself, whatever it is, so I think that in a lot of people's, and we've seen, even with the two of you, like different writing, how writing came into your life. And I think that it's important that we all leave something behind. Wouldn't you agree, ladies? Anne, you first?
Yes.
Yes. In 2019, when I wrote my memoir, I really didn't have any choice. God just to ask me to write it. And it's not my story, it's his story.
Mhm.
But I had a very tumultuous life, and I didn't meet Jesus until I was 55 years old. So unfortunately, in my book, it's like 16 chapters of 55 years before we get to that really good news. But these books were a shock to me. I mean, I never even thought about writing a children's book, but I had a heart for the children.
Yes.
And so it just, it just flowed right out of me.
Yeah, exactly. And you, Donna?
Yes, why I can attest to what you're saying, Anne, because I tell you what, that day when I woke up and all those words were just flooding my heart. I mean, they were coming in. I couldn't shut them off. Everywhere I looked, we were in the stores at times, and I would see little kids playing and words were coming. And I thought, oh my goodness, Lord, the only other time that I ever encountered such a bombardment of words were quite a few years ago. I had told a gentleman that his ministry was in missions, and I said to him, one day I'd love to go on one of your trips with you. And so it was the next summer that it occurred. But what was funny was all the months leading up to that month that we departed to go there, if you said missions out loud, I was going to start crying. It was like I couldn't hear the word, and all kinds of things just kept flooding my heart about missions. I couldn't think it without, here comes the tears, but when I received an envelope in the mail, and here this announcement was that they were going to go to South Africa.
Nice.
And I said, oh God, I want to go. And I heard so sweetly in my heart, you can go and I will make a way.
Make a way.
And so I showed the girls in my office. We were on staff at a church, and one came around the corner and she says, here's the check, here's the first. And so it just started. But it's amazing when you say, God, it was God, because he gives it to you and it comes at the right time. Whereas you couldn't have written it any earlier, It was that time. It was when God was pressing upon you, to get
Yes.
it done. The words and how quickly they will just spill out of you because it's the right time. So yes, I was trying to shut those words off. It was almost like I was constantly having this conversation about children's books. And like you, and I never thought about writing a children's book at all. That was never on my radar. So to think that here it is, I couldn't even go to the store or go to the playground or go anywhere with all these words were just bombarding my brain. And I thought, okay, I'm going to have to sit down and write this, or God, you're going to have to take it all away because it is just coming in like a flood. So, yes, it's coming in like a flood. So yeah. So Lord, you either I sit down and write, or you're going to have to take it away. One of these things are going to have to happen.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on our show today, both of you ladies. This has been really fabulous, and I am so grateful. And on another time, we'll talk about how these relationships through divine intervention happen. So God's everything, right? So I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this edition of Conversations That Make a Difference. Thank you, Dr. Ann. Thank you, Donna. And I am looking forward to the next show. In the meanwhile, make sure all the conversations that you're having in your life are making a difference to someone you love, including yourself. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Tune in next time for Conversations That Make a Difference with host Teresa Velarde every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. Thank you for listening, and thank you to our producer Rachel and to our station owner Deborah Beauvais, working behind the scenes. Be sure to go to conversationsthatmakeadifference.com for your free gift. Make sure your conversations make a difference.